this would be my first video. I will try to do live comment and give you my insights live during the flying, because English is not my native language, so this would be a little bit difficult for me, and sometimes I need some words like and just to give my brain time to find the right words in English. So I hope it would not be too much distracting, but I think it would be more fun for you and less work to do for me, because I do not have to script stuff. Even if I script it after the flying, it's a lot of work to do and takes a lot of time, so I've been not able to put out a lot of videos. If I can do these live commentating, I would be able to do much more shorter videos about Apache and all the other stuff, because of the less work required, and I hope I will get used to it pretty quick. So the plan for today was actually the normal maneuvering stuff for helicopters, which the Apache wasn't that bad before the last update already. It really was good, so we do not talk about that much. We start the aircraft and put it into a hover. I did not change my adjustments of the axis. Still reduced the roll and the pitch axis to 80%, the y-axis to 80%, and I did a bigger reduction on the tail rotor output. So it's about 70, I believe, or 60. So the tail rotor is not that powerful, because the tail rotor, especially for hover, is the most important thing. If you have problems to hover the Apache, you need to get more attention on the tail rotor. Keep your nose straight, keep your tail rotor controlled, and you will see it would be much easier to hover the Apache. Even if it feels like you have to do things with the cycling stick, that's not true. Usually it's not true. Most of the time it's the tail rotor that makes the difficulties, and you feel you have to correct with the cycling. Yeah, but that's not true. Try to bring the tail rotor under control first, and you will see it will be pretty much much easier to hover the Apache than when you just control it or just stay focused on the cyclic control. It's your control, it's the pedals that creates the problems. So I'm in a pretty stable hover now, and I just tell you, you can't see it, but I just tell you, I will take my hands out of the controls. So it's a little bit shaking now, so I bring it back into stable conditions. So okay, I have the hands now out of the controls, and just tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds without any problems. So the Apache is pretty stable. If you have it in a stable hover, you can drink a beer or a coffee, and he will still hover without using auto hover. That's because I do not have a spring. I have a helicopter control joystick, and I do not have a spring, so my joystick will stay, or my cycling stick will stay in the position I take my hand off. So that's one of the first things, and it's also stable during basic hover maneuvers. So let's hover to the right. It's clear to the right, so let's hover to the right. Just a little bit. So I will be able to hover to the right in a straight line, stop it, and bring it back to the left, hover to the left. So these basic maneuvers would be pretty much the same before the update. But nice to handle, good to control, especially if you fix the problem with the tail rotor and you fix the problems with the input on the cycling stick. So the next thing will be 360 turn around the follow me vehicle. We do it first counterclockwise. We keep the nose directed towards the car. And as always, any helicopter has its preferred directions. In the Apache, as for the most counterclockwise turning, helicopters in that maneuvers would be counterclockwise turning or turning to the right. That would be the easy way. So it would be, the aircraft would like to do it by himself. So that's supported by the direction of the rotor turning, supported by tail rotor thrust. So let's stop here and let's try it in the opposite direction. So it's more difficult clockwise or to the left. I have to have forced the aircraft a little bit to do it. He wouldn't do it by himself, and I have to work much more with the pedals. So the aircraft wouldn't like to turn naturally. I have to force it. I have to force the pedal with the pedals to keep the nose straight towards the aircraft. But that's perfectly well. That's the same in real life. That's perfectly simulated here. That's really how you have to expect, how you will expect it if you're sitting into the aircraft in real life. So that's also pretty well done. And during the whole maneuvers, we did not have any low RPM, high RPM warnings. We did not have any yellow or red indications on the MFD screen. That also was not possible before the update. So the power management is now much better. So let's do a short flight towards the runway. Before the update, our indications were jumping up and down and yeah, getting into the yellow, getting into the red. Yeah, just by such basic maneuvers here. We still have been fully loaded. We have rockets, we have Hellfires. The tank is filled up to 50%, so we're pretty heavy, but we are at main sea level. So we should have a lot of power. We should not be reduced to running takeoff because of the heavy load. We should be able to hover, which works pretty well here. So let's do the next maneuver. The next maneuver will be helicopter ballet. We move along the center line of the runway while turning the aircraft counterclockwise with the tail rotor. Same thing. We do not stop. We keep the aircraft moving along the center line, and we keep the aircraft turning all the time. Oops, now I'm stopped. So there is a direction the aircraft like it to do, and there is a direction the aircraft doesn't like it to do. So keep going. Just one more turn. So there is a little bit of an unwillingness. That's fine. That's great. That's normal. Because the helicopter, especially with a heavy rotor system, it's a pretty stable thing, and they don't like to change the position within space. So let's move backwards on the runway and turn into the opposite direction. So it's much easier to turn the nose to the right, because that's the way torque will control it, and the aircraft will do it by himself. If you turn to the other side, you need power, and the aircraft don't want to turn to the left. I'm getting too fast, so I try to get it back under control. Yeah. Not that bad. Not good, but not that bad. But again, no warning lights, no low rotor RPM, no reds, no orange. So let's do a normal takeoff. Accelerating, getting to translational lift, raising collective, taking off, and I will activate my HUD, so I do not have to watch on the MFD. I have better control over engine output and airspeed on the HUD. So we turn back to the airport, doing a right turn, initiating the turn, lower collective a little bit, pushing right pedal, so torque will turn the aircraft by himself. So I'm pretty much in the green. Going back to the airport, and next maneuver will be rapid deceleration, so we go fast, close to the ground, and then we reduce our airspeed. Lower collective, pull the nose up, keep my altitude, reduce the speed. Getting slow, leveling, and bring the aircraft close to the ground. So yeah, this maneuver would be a pain without the update. So before the update it was a big pain, lots of red and lots of rotor RPM warnings. It's now much better, and what would be also much better would be egg turns. I was not able to do egg turns before the update. So let's try it here. We turn first to the right. We do not use the tail rotor for the turn. So we gain some power by pushing right pedal during the egg turn. Speed up, pull up the nose, lower collective a little bit, and then I push right pedal, turn the aircraft, and back towards the airport. So there was torque was rising up to the top on the red. I'm not sure, should not happen, because I have lowered the collective. There was less drag on the rotor system. I did not do much hard maneuvers by pulling the cyclic back and level the aircraft. I got a kind of a flare, so that will recover RPM. There will no engine power needed to recover or hold the rotor RPM. I do not know why torque is indicating that. I think that's still a bug. They still have to work on that. So next time I will do the egg turn to the left. Raise collective, lower collective.
Rotor RPM low.
That would be bad. Okay, the rotor RPM recovery, lower collective. I was already too slow for the egg turn, but I will be able to recover easily. That's the main thing. If I do something wrong, it doesn't end into a crash. If I do the corrective maneuver correct, so if I recover correctly, I do have a chance to survive. That also was not possible in the Apache before the update. If you did something wrong or something too hard, your aircraft will settle, your RPM will drop, and you will crash. Yeah. But these things changed dramatically with the last update. It's much more fun. It's much more fun to fly, and I try it again. I speed up. I try to get 100 knots here. Push the cyclic back, lower collective, left pedal.
Rotor RPM low.
Again, I do not know why rotor RPM gets low, because I do not need any power. I have lowered the collective. The only thing I do is I push the left pedal. So tail rotor is requiring much more power than during normal flight. So that should increase my engine power, but why it decreases rotor RPM, I have no idea. Because of the aft cycling, which is this is similar to a flare. I should have more power available. Maybe I get some high RPM warnings, but not a low RPM in that kind of maneuver. I have no idea why they do that. Maybe they change it. Maybe I'm wrong. That will be also possible. Maybe I'm wrong. Don't forget it. That's all my opinion. It's my view on things. I'm not always right. I'm mostly right, but I'm not always right. So take it with a little bit of salt. But for me, it's it feels not right. It's unusual. So let's do a little bit more hard maneuvers. Or first, let's go into let's do what is pretty popular in DCS is Vortex ring state maneuvers. Yeah, in real life, you as a pilot, there are lots of pilots never realize the Vortex ring state situation, especially if you do not area working or sling load and load heavy stuff, where you have to hover with a high power output, and they never realized such kind of situations. In DCS, it's pretty popular because every crash is related to vertical ring state in DCS. Even if it's a pilot error, it's a common distraction from bad piloting. It's always vertical ring state. If you crash during approach, during takeoff and landing, always vertical ring state. So let's do a real vertical ring state here in DCS, which is possible, at least after the update. I never tried it in that way before the update, but after the update it's possible, and it's pretty much like you would expect it in real life. As a flight instructor, I have forced the aircraft during training several times into vertical ring state because it's required to show a private pilot, for a private pilot license, to show the situation and to show how to get out of it. He didn't have to do that by himself because that's too dangerous, but you have to show it and how it feels. So I did that several times in real life. I have lots of experience in vertical ring state situations. So I need to bring back my speed to 0, which is pretty hard to do without reference, and I've been not used to the indication on the HUD here. So okie dokie, now let's try. We get close to 0. Okie dokie, so I lower collective, slowly, keep the nose straight, lower collective, lower collective, lower collective, lower collective, collective down, the aircraft settles, keep the airspeed close to 0, the aircraft is settling, now I raise collective again to try to stop the descent, but instead of stopping the descent, the aircraft starts shaking and still keep descending, torque is getting into the red, still descending, still have a high descent rate, so the only way out of it is lower collective, push the nose forward, and suddenly I get a high rotor RPM again without any reason, so there is still some work to do, but the situation itself, how it feels, how to recover, that's pretty nice, that's pretty good. Let's go back to the airport, let's do some close to the ground maneuvering. So that's the kind of helicopter flying I personally like, so I like to fly Robinson R22, use 500s, because they have lots of power, lots of maneuverability, lots of fun to fly, and you really feel free like a bird. While in such heavy helicopters like the Apache, you're more like a train than like a bird, because the mass is forcing you into wide circles.
Rotor RPM low. Rotor RPM low.
So also rotor RPM recoveries, I'm not sure if I already mentioned it. Rotor RPM recoveries was not possible before the update. Now after the update, it's pretty good possible to counteract the rotor RPM and bring the RPM back. So simply you have to lower collective and your RPM should come back because of the decreased drag on the rotor system. If you get close to the ground, you have to pump with the collective, just lower collective, pull it down, push it up, pull it down, push it up, pull it down, push it up to recover, because that will take the stress or the drag from the rotor system and prevents the aircraft from further settling. If you're close to the ground, you do not want to get in touch with the ground. So that was not possible before the update. It's now pretty good. Simulated and pretty much possible to do it after the update. So that's all of that changes are on the side of the helicopter pilot's side, on the flying side, on the fun side of flying the Apache. Has nothing to do with the MFDs and all the electronic stuff. They may have a lot of problems after the update, yeah, but I don't care. I'm a pilot, I would like to fly, so my gunner should take care of the MFDs and the stuff. So that looks pretty nice. So also let's do some real life situations, like flying around looking for enemies. So we move a little bit northbound along the coast, looking for enemies. Flying over the city, looking for the enemies, and let's say we get under fire when reaching the hotel. So we need to get behind the cover. So we use the hotel as a cover. We get fire from the right, and we need to use the hotel as a cover. So we will be able to hide behind the hotel in a pretty fast and a pretty hard maneuver, which was also not possible before the update. It also always leads into a crash for me. So I bring the aircraft behind the hotel into a safe position and into a steady hover. So I will be able to look above the buildings, looking for the enemy, and when it's necessary, when there are bullets showing up or rockets coming in, I will be able to lower collective, settling.
Rotor RPM low. Rotor RPM low. Rotor RPM low.
That's the demonstration effect. That should not happen. But yeah, that was so before, all the time before the update. So let's go back into the aircraft.
Rotor RPM high.
So this is one of these low RPM high situations, which is unusual. Let's say it that way, because why should the rotor RPM overshoot the engine? There is no reason for the rotor will always lag behind. The rotor don't like to speed up. They have to push to speeding up. So why did the rotor speed up excessively without any reason, without any need? So that's for sure still a bug here on Apache, on the DCS Apache. So we go back behind the hotel to take the hotel as a cover, flying along the coastline, and then we got shot from 2 or 3 o'clock. So we looking for a cover, turning towards the hotel, using the hotel as a cover, try to do it as fast as possible. Getting into a stable hover. Okay, and when I'm still getting rockets incoming or seeing tracers incoming in my direction, I'll just lower the collective a little bit and descending behind the cover, behind the buildings in that case. So I will be able to stop before touching the ground. I have to do it, still I have to do it slow, nice and easy, but at least it will be possible. Yeah. Again, going above the cover, I just keep a little bit of distance, and when it's necessary, I don't only lower collective, so I get a little bit closer towards the cover, and this forward movement saves me from settling into my own downwash. So that makes the thing a little bit safer. Yeah, you can do it backwards, but you also can do it sidewards. That would not possible before the update, at least for me. If I try to avoid an incoming rocket by a hard sidewards movement, I get low RPM and I was not recover from low RPM. So that's also much better than before. So let's try and do some hard maneuvers while flying back towards the airport. And we would like to end this video because it's already above 20 minutes, at least before I do the video work, cutting some stuff out, or just yeah, we will see how much I will cut out. So I have the airport in front of me. That's the parking area. My landing spot is on 1 o'clock. And again, I would like to do it a little bit more helicopter-like. Not on the first time, I will try to do some aerobatics first. Just to see where are the limits of the Apache now after the updates are.
Rotor RPM low. Rotor RPM low.
Yeah,
Rotor
this was
RPM
related
low.
to the excessive left pedal needed to stop the turn. So that costs a lot of engine power and pushes rotor RPM down. Let's try to do the same in the opposite direction, to the right.
Rotor RPM high.
Yeah, it doesn't
Rotor
like to turn
RPM
to the
low.
right because I lowered collective and decreased torque. I will try to do the same without lowering collective. With a high torque setting, they should be turned much faster to the right during that kind of maneuver. When I keep the Apache under stress. Switch off the warning light and then I initiate the turn. Keep it under stress, turns much faster.
Rotor RPM low. Rotor RPM low. Rotor RPM low.
And recover. Yeah, that's the tail rotor. The tail rotor needs excessive power. I'm not sure if it's if this is realistic, but it's a high effective rotor. I believe he has 4 blades. I'm not quite sure. Has lots of power on the tail rotor, and it requires a lot of engine power. And that's yeah, it's realistic that you need more power when you push the left pedal, and you need less power when you push the right pedal. But the amount of power needed for left pedal turn, I'm not quite sure if this actually is realistic. If it's that much, and if it's that hard to keep the aircraft under control. Especially the effect on the rotor system. If there is a torque increasing and engine power is getting, or the TOG is getting into the red because a lot of engine power is required, that maybe I understand, but the sudden effect on the rotor system, I believe that's not really correct. So there is a lot of mass, it's a lot of energy stored in the rotor system. They should react, but they should react much slower. Yeah, at least in my view, it's my opinion. They still have to do a lot of work when it comes to inertia within the rotor system. So I will bring the flight to an end. That was a nice landing. Thank you very much for joining. If you do not follow the channel right now, so please subscribe to the channel. If you do have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for joining. I hope I'll see you next time. Bye bye.